Ukrainian negotiators in Türkiye will demand Russia agree to a full 30-day ceasefire and the swap of all prisoners of war from both countries when the two sides meet later on Monday. The talks, expected to be held in Istanbul, will be the second time the adversaries have met to discuss a potential peace agreement in the last month. Delegations from Russia and Ukraine met in May amid pressure from the Trump administration for a diplomatic end to the three-year invasion. In documents shown to news agency Reuters, Ukrainian negotiators are set to make a series of demands to the Russian delegation. Under the blueprint, Moscow and Kyiv, with the participation of the United States and Europe, will work to hash out the terms on which they can agree to put a complete end to their three-year-old war, the biggest conflict in Europe since World War II. Ukraine's starting point will include no restrictions on Ukraine's military strength after a peace deal is struck, no international recognition of Russian sovereignty over parts of Ukraine taken by Moscow's forces, and reparations for Ukraine. The starting point will be a full and unconditional ceasefire in the sky, on land and at sea is a necessary background and prerequisite for peace negotiations. The document also stated that the current location of the front line would form the basis for negotiations about territory. The aim of the negotiations is to restore a permanent basis for lasting peace and security and to ensure that aggression does not occur again, the document said. The outline also demands the leaders of Ukraine and Russia meet to agree on key aspects of final peace settlement. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky last month challenged his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin to meet at the first round of Istanbul talks, but the longtime president instead sent a low-level delegation. Ukraine's terms diverge considerably from demands that Russia has made publicly in the past few weeks. U.S. President Donald Trump has urged Moscow and Kyiv to work together on a deal to end their war, and Russia has proposed a second round of face-to-face talks with Ukrainian officials next week in Istanbul. Kyiv said earlier this week it is committed to the search for peace, but that it was waiting for a memorandum from the Russian side setting out their proposals which has not materialized. Nevertheless, Mr. Zelensky said on Sunday that he will send a delegation of his officials to meet their Russian counterparts in Istanbul. On Sunday, a day before the talks were scheduled, Ukraine carried out an audacious series of attacks on Russian air bases. Ukraine's military says it struck upwards of 40 Russian planes using drones.